Alrighty, it is 5 o'clock and we will get started. So welcome everyone to our NWEA Pathways to Personalized Learning webinar. My name is Soraya Wilkes and I am the Vice President of Sales and Marketing here at Wowzers. And we are so excited to be sharing this with you guys, presented by one of our favorite teachers, Mrs. Kristin Aguilar. So we have the agenda here. Just wanted to make sure you guys know what we're going to be covering in the next 30 minutes. And keep in mind, as Kristin is speaking, please feel free to chat any questions in the chat box. We have one of our implementation specialists, Kara Granger, monitoring and answering questions on the spot. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Kristin Aguilar, who's from STEAM Academy in Burleson, Texas. So Kristin, take it away.
Thank you, Soraya. I'm gonna share my screen real quick with you guys so I can take control over this. There we go. Hey everyone, thanks again for taking time out of your day to be with us. To learn a little bit more about personalized learning in your math classroom. I'm Kristin Aguilar and I'm a 5th grade math teacher here in Burleson, Texas, at the STEAM Academy at Stribling Elementary. This is my 6th year of teaching, and I've taught all 6 years here in Burleson ISD. Let me tell you just a little bit more about myself and why I became a teacher. I had a very exceptional teacher in middle school who ended up following my class into high school. So I had the pleasure of having this teacher in 7th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade. She ended up just following us up each year. She made her class really engaging and fun, but kept her learning and her lessons very rigorous and relevant, and always centered around her students. We were able to make choices in how we wanted to learn and how we wanted to show the understanding of the topics as she was teaching her lessons. And she taught through project-based learning, which was new to education. So that was something that I had never really experienced before. And so I wanted to be able to share my learning experience with others. And so I decided to become a teacher. I want to focus mostly today, though, about integrating technology into your classroom, especially in the math classroom, which seems to be a challenge. I've always tried to use technology in my classroom, starting off with just simple stations on desktop computers or small sets of iPads used in activities. But I love teaching math through games because my kids love to play games. So when my district decided to go one-to-one with Chromebooks for grades 3 to 12 about 3 years ago, I was really excited to have that technology in the hands of all of my students every single day. So now we incorporate technology in some portion of our class on a daily basis. It's just part of my teaching style, and it's part of the way that my kids learn and show their understanding or mastery of what we're working on in class. So today we're going to focus on how technology, especially Wowzers, has helped me become a better teacher by increasing that level of engagement in my classroom and assisting in differentiating for my students. Differentiation is something that is a challenge for most of us, I would think, and it's definitely a challenge for me this year. This year I have students whose math abilities range from a 1st grade level to a 7th grade level, all within my same classroom. Wowzers has helped me meet the needs of all of my students in the room by providing a high quality and relevant level of instruction while maintaining the rigor for all levels needed for my students. My students feel more confident in their math abilities and they're excited when they're learning with Wowzers. This program keeps my students engaged and provides that personalized learning experience that's hard to find, and it meets their individual needs. These are some of my students right here. And you can see that they're all working really hard on their current learning path, which is unique to just them. And they're able to work at their own pace to complete lessons and activities that are just individualized to what's on their screen. So as a teacher, I'm able to meet the curriculum expectations that are established by the state and my district while instantly differentiating for all of my students, and I have 97 of them. I use the data that we collect from the NWEA measures of academic progress, or the MAP assessment, to write these individualized academic goals with my students. And then Wowzers helps my students show their growth and accomplish their academic goals while gaining a deeper conceptual understanding of their math. So I'm sure some of you may have this question, what exactly is Wowzers? So I have a quick video to show you, just to give you a little bit more about the program, and then I'm going to go into more detail about how the program supports the needs of students in my classroom.
Welcome to the Wowzers program. Wowzers is a complete math curriculum for kindergarten through 8th grade. It's based on the science of learning, which addresses cognitive, emotional, social, reflective, and physical learning, while presenting content in multiple ways that appeals to tactile, auditory, and visual learners. Students are guided toward mastery of content and the development of critical and creative thinking. The personalized curriculum covers every standard for each grade level and includes adaptive lessons and practices, videos, games, career-based quests, assessments, test prep, and blended learning activities. Assessment questions are based on the standards and mirror those found on high-stakes achievement tests and provide teachers with the information they need to individualize learning. Wowzers' award-winning teacher dashboard is available to teachers and administrators and tracks individual student and classroom progress in real time. It provides a variety of reports to ensure that all students are mastering the content and that teachers are given the information they need to personalize learning. Brain-based research emphasizes the fact that engagement must be the goal of all educators. Wowzers engages students with research-based strategies, including a variety of learning activities that build both declarative knowledge and cognitive skills using different learning modalities to engage and reach learners at their skill and interest level. Based on the science of learning, we know that both engagement and feeling rewarded for achievement are important. Wowzers provides a reward system of virtual coins that students then use within the program. Each section of Wowzers has a story-driven mission that makes math relevant. On the first day using Wowzers, students go through a quick tutorial where they're introduced to Wowzers and their overall goal. At this point, students create an avatar that they use throughout their math quests.
Okay, so I'll just go straight into talking about how the program is integrated with a partnership from NWEA. And even if your district doesn't partner with NWEA, the program still has capabilities to differentiate and personalize for your students. So don't think that you don't have those options if you don't use the MAP assessment. But Wowzers is the only program that links MAP growth data directly to auto-generate individualized learning paths for each student based on their MAP results or their RIT scores that come from the assessment. My district uses MAP as our beginning of year, middle of year, and end of year assessments for all grade levels. We've chosen to go with NWEA because this assessment system is a diagnostic tool that's used to pinpoint each student's mastery level and academic needs outside of the constraints of the specific grade level content. So I can see what my kids know, even if they're not on a 5th grade level, if they're behind in math, or if they're ahead in math, I know exactly what they're ready to learn. So Wowzers has been a wonderful addition to my classroom because it provides that personalized instruction, and it's engaging, but yet rigorous and relevant for my students. It's also aligned to my state standards, which are the TEKS, but it's also been aligned to all state standards, which I'll show you in just a few minutes on the program. My students can access the program anytime, so we use Wowzers for homework, and we also use it to maintain our academics over extended holiday or summer breaks. The program has embedded pre-assessments, lessons, practice activities, and post-assessments for each content area, which I'll also show you in just a minute. My students personally love the quests and games that accompany their online learning as they journey through the program, but I enjoy the blended learning activities that Wowzers offers. So I can also use the program to print activities, project ideas, and it has writing tasks that I use to supplement what I'm teaching in class. So let me show you just a few more of the features so you can see what Wowzers actually looks like from the teacher's perspective. When you log into Wowzers, this is what your dashboard screen looks like. So you can see there's some classes over here. This is just a demo, but this is exactly what my classroom looks like also with my kids. And this shows me where my kids are, what they're working on, and what their grade level at that time is. So this kiddo is on a 7th grade, 5th grade, 4th grade, or this one's on a 6th grade strand, depending on where they're at in their learning path. So I've chosen this student to click on their NWEA path, which has their RIT score already integrated into the program, and it shows which skills this particular student is ready to work on. So as you can see, it doesn't have every strand in there because they may have already mastered some of those strands. So it has it in the order showing of what this student needs and in the order that they're ready to work on it. But as a teacher, if I see that maybe I don't think they're ready to go in this order, or what I like is if I want to put some extra things in there to make sure their foundations are solid, I can now click on the Add New Sections, and I can find over here different grade levels to add in some standards. So if I wanted to show maybe a 3rd grade foundation to what they're doing, I can find it over here on the side, and I can click on it and put it into that kid's path and then move it to where I want that student working on it before they get to the topic that the NWEA path suggested. So there's a lot of options here to personalize for your students, and you can do this without the NWEA integration. So it's really, really awesome, instant differentiation for your kids. Just a few clicks. Let me go back. And I mentioned that it was aligned to my state standards, but if you are not from Texas, I'm going to show you that it's also aligned to whatever your state standards may be. So it's set to the TEKS because I've been playing around with it. That's what I'm familiar with, are the TEKS. But then if you teach to Common Core, you can click on Common Core standards, and the program realigns to fit your specific standards to make sure that you're integrating whatever your specific standards are from your state or your district. So that's something else that's great. It's already there for you, and you don't have to rewrite the curriculum to match what your state or district wants you to teach. I mentioned the downloadables. Those are all in here for each topic. So there's leveled homeworks that you can click on that are PDFs. There's games in here that are PDFs, higher order thinking activities, and then there's writing tasks, which I appreciate. We need more of those in our math classroom. And then anytime that the kids are working on a topic, you can click on the topic to see what they have, but the program is aligned the same way. So the tryout, they start with a pre-assessment, then they have their lesson, which is very interactive, step-by-step for the kids. So they're learning and plugging in parts as they're being asked questions. The practice is a little more independent, remediation if necessary. Then there's a game where they're applying their knowledge. There's a quest, which is similar to a scavenger hunt. My kids love those. And then there's a quick quiz at the end before they finish up all of those topics to do their actual post-assessment. So as a teacher, whenever I'm looking at this, I'm always wondering where my kids are, how they're doing, and Wowzers has some of the best reports that I think I've ever seen from any program I've used in my classroom. So I'm going to show you some examples of the reports. This is what it looks like from your teacher dashboard, but I have some of the actual just sample reports. I want to just kind of show you a few of them quickly before we move on. I have 3 favorites that I want to go over just to kind of let you know, hey, there's relevant data in here so that you're able to use your information to guide your instruction. You can see on the summative report, it shows you how long your class averages are for working on the program, but then it also breaks it down by student. You can look at different time periods, how long they've been working on the program, and if that time is increasing. You can see their accuracy on scores. And then these are the domains from the actual NWEA assessment. So I can see if my kids are actually increasing those percentages as they continue to work on Wowzers. I'm going to scroll down the standards report. This one shows me how many students may be mastering or struggling with a specific standard. But this one is really unique because I can take this standards report and I can actually run a report outside of my grade level standards. So remember I mentioned in my classroom, I have some kids on a first grade math level and a 7th grade math level. So I can click this report to run all standards, and I can see my students from first grade to 7th grade, what they've been working on and how they've been doing on every single TEK in every single grade level. And I've never seen that on any other program that clean and clear. So it's been great for RTI meetings, response to interventions. I've used it in parent conferences. I've used it whenever I've been talking to my collaborative teacher I have for special education. That data is really, really awesome and so easy to read. I know I'm going kind of fast. Apologize. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but these will be more relevant, obviously, with your information on them. But here's a great one to see how much your kids are using the program. It shows you the breakdown of the individual students and the hours that have been spent on the program. Real quick, easy reports to read. All of these are downloadable so that you can save them. You can pull the reports by a specific assignment. I use Wowzers as a grade in my grade book. So my students have goals on how much time that they're supposed to be spending on the program. And then I take the average of their practice and their quizzes and I give them an actual grade. There's one more, I believe it's the last one. Here's a progress report. It's the report card, yeah, it's down here. It's one I use to collect data for data folders. So it shows me my student, it shows me what they've completed, the time, and then here there would be several more topics. It shows it by strand, the grade level of the strand, and the score. So this is another one that prints out nice and neat and the kids can see it. Great communication to parents also. If you need something to show, well, why is this program good for them? I recommend it when the parents are asking about tutoring. I recommend Wowzers. So this would be another one that I would want to show to the parents of this is how they're working on the program, what they've been doing, and what their performance level is. I'm gonna switch back and show you some actual results that I've seen here on my campus from my actual classroom, just to kind of let you know that yes, this program works. The more you use it, obviously, just like anything else, the better those results are going to be. So last year, my kiddos took their STAR test. That's their standardized assessment for the state in April. And I had 97% of my students last year pass that test on their first round. Now, my 5th graders last year used the program for about an hour, average of 6 to 7 hours. We started using it in September of 2017. And out of the 97% that passed on the first round, 21% scored high enough to meet the master's category, which is an 88% or higher on that test. And then I've chosen a couple of kids here just to compare the MAP data for you. Student A is in our accelerated program. The student takes math a year ahead of the grade that they were actually in last year. And student B was a 5th grader last year that was an average of 2 years behind in math. So using the program for 6 to 8 hours, they were able to see very, very high gains in their growth across those 3 domains that we had the data for for their MAP data from October, which was our beginning of year assessment, to April, which was our end of year assessment. And the average growth projection for that assessment is expected between 4 and 6%. So in most of those categories on that assessment, those students were hitting very, very well above that. I think one of them, was at a 20% gain in algebraic thinking, which is, phenomenal. So not just are we seeing it on the data, but the boost of confidence in my kids has just been through the roof. And when I talk about something in class, so many times I hear the kids say, "Oh, I've learned that on Wowzers. Let me show you what I've learned on Wowzers." So that's always refreshing as a teacher. Our campus was part of a study that was conducted by Wowzers last year. So this is just a little bit more information about my campus as a whole. You can see the population of our campus and the demographics of my students here. Last year, our students used Wowzers for an average of about 6 hours, and the average increase in growth between their assessments was a little over 23%. So we were able to see significant gains by personalizing their learning with this program. This year, my 5th graders have already worked on Wowzers for an average of about 4 hours. So we are really excited to see their growth measures when we take our middle of year assessment in January, which is coming up pretty quick. Their confidence has already been boosted. I had so many kids come to me in August saying, "I'm not good at math because my mom's not good at math, and I've never been good at math." And these kids are 10. So it's nice to see them eager, wanting to learn. I know they're going to be excited when they see their results and when we go over their academic goals again to see that they've met those goals. That's all I have for you. So I just want to thank you again for taking the time to learn with us. And I hope you're able to take away some ideas for personalizing the learning for your own students in your own classroom and for incorporating Wowzers into your classrooms. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Soraya.
Wow, thank you so much, Kristin. That was fabulous. So yes, we ended at a really good time because now we have time to answer a couple questions. So it looks like Kara was able to keep up with most of the questions that came through. So we did save a couple that we've gotten beforehand. So one of the questions we had, Kristin, was how hard was it to get your students on an NWEA learning path?
So once my students take the assessment, there's a 24-hour lapse between the assessment and when the data comes in. And so once we get the data the next day, it's literally just the click of a button with Wowzers. It's just a button, I think it says sync data. And once I click it, within seconds, I have an individualized learning path to that specific student. And anything I see that I might want to adjust the order of, I just click that edit button and I just drag it up and down or hide it or add something. So I was able to sit with about 4 or 5 other teachers after school one day and show them that. And I have almost 100 kiddos. They teach 3 classes apiece, and we personalize the learning for all of our students in about 20-25 minutes.
That's awesome. So yeah, that was actually my next question that you kind of answered already, which is how can I meet grade level standards while students work on their own personalized path?
Okay, yeah. So we make sure, obviously in the classroom, we're still teaching what's expected from our district and state, but it's just the reality that some of our kids are not on grade level, and it might be that they're below or they're above. So we're making sure we carve out the time to meet the kids where they need to be. And Wowzers has made that so easy for us to do because of those personalized learning paths. So dedicating the time to work on Wowzers, using Wowzers as a supplement for homework, and then incorporating the grade level content into the classroom time. So working it as an integration of both has been our best plan for that.
Awesome. So as we wrap up, once again, Kristin, thank you so much. Your information has been invaluable, and I hope that everyone here found this information invaluable and left you inspired with ideas on how to personalize learning. So as we mentioned in our webinar sign up, everyone who signed up for this webinar will be getting free access to Wowzers for the rest of this school year. This includes unlimited access for all of your teachers and students at your school. So you will be contacted by one of our account managers to get your program set up. And if you have any questions at that time for us, or even Kristin, we'll pass along those messages for Kristin and ourselves. So our goal is hopefully to get everyone started by the new year, if not sooner. As Kristin mentioned, this is a great program to use over extended breaks. So I know a lot of kiddos use Wowzers over Christmas break. So thank you again to everyone for taking the time out of your day to join us. We sincerely appreciate it. Have a good evening and happy holidays.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kristin.